Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. I hope you've had an absolutely fantastic week as I have here in beautiful sunny Queensland where it never seems to rain lately. I'm not testing the situation, but it would be nice to see a little bit of spring rain here because our parched plants really do need it. So I hope you've managed to manoeuvre your way through the new moon in Libra that we had from Sunday through to Tuesday. It's been a very interesting new moon. I think it's brought out a lot of people's ability to try and negotiate. Now, hasn't it been interesting on the world stage over the last few days as we watch politicians from all around the world sort of slapping each other on the back and sort of jockeying for position and trying to sort of bring some sort of balance into the tangled web that they weave worldwide these days. It's just interesting from my point of view. I mean, yes, I do follow the world politics quite closely, purely because I find it entertaining to see how that they all react unconsciously to where the planetary configurations are astrologically. So it does bring a chuckle to my face, but these are very serious matters that we are facing globally. And, you know, from things like global warming and them not taking any notice that we all do need to take better care of the planet, I don't find that funny in any form, shape or size. And the same as I don't find funny the fact that the world is changing in the way that we feed ourselves, and I think that there's a lot more that can be done there too. I think our politicians are too busy running around trying to be mega stars and be, you know, major stars on social media, that they're forgetting what they're really there for, what we, the public, have voted them to do and pay them to do, and that's to manage money, to try and make the world a better place and to really tackle this very major issue called climate change. And it's lovely to see that the up-and-coming future adults are starting to take matters into their own hands and having strikes and things like that around the world to say, hey, look at me, I really believe in climate change and I really believe that we need to act now. Don't wait until I'm a grown-up. And I think that that's really a sign of the times of where our youth is coming from, that we do have some real-world leaders emerging out of our young children that really are taking this issue very seriously, as we all should. So anyway, moving along with the show, this week I'm featuring the Simply Tarot card of the week, which is the Two of Wands. Now, the Two of Wands means a card that you could be taking a short journey. Now, the short journey could be to or near water. It doesn't necessarily mean over water. It is not the card that means overseas. It means that you're hopping in the car, you're taking a trip, you're taking a journey. You may have to cross over some water. You may go near the water. It's not a long distance journey. It's a short distance one. Now, for many of us, we do that unconsciously in our day-to-day lives. We hop in our motor vehicles or on our push bikes or on our own 2 feet. And we take a journey because we've got things to do in our daily life. This is just asking you to be a little bit more aware, a little bit more courteous when you're out and about, and make sure that you pay attention to the things that are going on around you and don't become sidetracked or complacent, and heaven forbid, leave your telephone where it should be, in your bag or on the seat, and don't touch it while you're driving. Too many accidents are caused by people being distracted this day and age. So this is a card to also, I think, ask us to sort of expand our horizons a little bit as we're out and about, absorb what's going on in the local environment and see whether there's something that you can do to contribute to make it better. So that's where we're going to leave the card of the week this week, and that's from the Simply Tarot deck. Next week I'll have an exciting announcement to make on tarot, so you'll have to wait until next week. So moving along with the astrological things that are going on at the moment in the planet, obviously it's the Librian time of the year, so we have the Sun in Libra, but we also have the Sun in Libra holding hands or conjunct Venus, and Venus is conjunct or holding hands with Mercury. So what this means is the Sun is shining on all things practical and things that we need to bring into balance. It's asking us to take a gentler approach, have our listening ears on, really listen to every side of the argument or the discussion that's going on. Before we bring down our judgment like a high court judge, we need to hear all the facts and listen, look, and absorb everything from everybody else's direction. Now, we add to that Venus, the planet of love and affection, which actually rules Libra. So Venus feels very, very comfortable sitting here in Libra, where he's where she's trying to bring across a very nice, gentle, calming sort of energy. I sometimes describe Venus in Libra as fairy floss pink, you know, making everything soft and gentle and fluffy and marshmallow, we sort of feeling where we've got this, you know, happy joy in our tummy. But Venus also can be quite hard hitting, particularly when she's asking you to look at the things that are near and dear to us. And again, I come back to the environment. I think the environment should be near and dear to all of us. Now, Venus is holding hands or conjunct the planet Mercury, which is the planet of communication. So this is where we, in all forms of communication, she's trying to be sort of soft and gentle, but at the same time, deliver a very definite message. So I think communications in the next week to 10 days are going to be really prevalent. I think we need to be aware of the things that are coming out in the media. And this morning here in Australia, it's that early morning here, before I started the show, the breaking news was the Prince Harry and Meghan and his attack on the media, the way that they're treating his wife, and he doesn't want history to repeat itself. There's a very classic example of the Sun conjunct Venus conjunct Mercury, that, you know, it's time now to bring this out into the open in a very dynamic sort of way, still being passionate, but being very firm at the same time and saying this is no longer acceptable. And I think that's a very good example of how that's working. So on the other end of the spectrum there, we've still got Saturn, the planet of discipline, and the father figure of the zodiac conjunct or holding hands with the planet Pluto in Capricorn. Now, this is where the governmental sort of stuff, the stuff that governs countries, the things that are official in our lives, it's still going through a massive transformation. And this is why I think the political arena is so hot around the world at the moment, while Saturn sort of waves his big stick and says, come on, you're going to start to transform. You're going to start to look at doing things differently. And you've got to start learning your lessons. You can't just keep getting away with getting out there and presenting all this fluffy stuff and slapping each other on the back. How about some action to back this up? You know, put your money where your mouth is. So I still believe as we head towards the end of this year, we're going to see a little bit more jockeying of positions and hopefully maybe some decent decisions made worldwide to improve the state of the world economy and, more importantly, the environment, and really starting to look at finding some solutions to global warming. That is really, really important. So this week I want to focus on a candle that is probably one of my favourites, in as much as there isn't a time in our lives where I think each and every one of us experience some sort of grief or some sort of loss. And it's an interesting concept because a lot of times you see things on the news and whatever, and you see people lighting a candle and leaving it at the crash site or as a remembrance or with the flowers and the cards and the well wishes. And that's what led me to design a candle that was purely for that, was purely for loss. And it's my angel in the sky. And it was something that I believed was a very, very necessary thing, that we could have a candle that was non-sort of threatening, that you could use and say to yourselves, this is a candle that can be used at any time. It doesn't necessarily have to be at the time of loss, but it's something that we can use in our celebrations for the festive season as we come up for, you know, Thanksgiving in the USA and Christmas and things like that, or birthdays or anniversaries, or just wanting to acknowledge the people that have left us. So it's a candle that can be used for all of those occasions. It's a very gentle scented candle, and it is a white candle. And I tried to make it as gentle and as delicate as I could so that it would cross all areas, whether we've lost somebody that was more mature or we've lost a very little person. So my angel in the sky is one that I burn regularly because, like everybody else, I've had my fair share of loss in my life too. And it's something that I like to burn regularly because I like to pay homage to the people that I've lost that were very special and very important to me. So it's a lovely candle for that sort of reason. So for those of you changing tack, we can of course we can make you up a gift box set of My Angel in the Sky with 3 mini candles in a gift box. But this week I thought, let's make it a little bit more on the positive side. Let's try and keep some positive energy happening. I've got the passion candle. I've got the fire sign candle in the middle, which is also one of my favourites too. And I've got the new moon candle. So it's just to show you that you can make up your gift box with any selection that you like out of our 28. They don't have to be the candle that I've featured this week. And it gives you such variety, and it's a perfect gift to give to yourself. And I think sometimes we've got to learn to give to ourselves too. So for those of you that don't want to work with a candle, but you still want to work with the the magic of the candle and what the candle can bring into your life, can I suggest to you a melt warmer? You can pick these up at your local department store or supermarket, fairly inexpensive. They are electric. So you pop 2 teaspoons of your wax out of your candle, pop it in the melt warmer, and you can leave that going all day. It's sort of something that you can leave going in the home or the office, as long as you turn it off before you leave the home or your office. I think they're very safe. They're really safe around children and pets. And if you live here in Australia and we're heading to air conditioning season, it's not always the best thing to do is have a candle burning with an air conditioner or a fan going. But this is also a nice way, if you don't want to have a flame going at Christmas time or one of those special occasions, but you still want to remember those that have passed over, you can take 2 teaspoons of your soy wax out of your My Angel in the Sky, have this going in the background, and it will just fill the room with such a beautiful scent. And when people ask you what that beautiful fragrance is, you can say it's My Angel in the Sky, and you can leave that up to their imagination of how they want to. But most people understand what that means, and it brings a special smile to their faces. They take that couple of minutes to remember their loved ones. So the famous person that we're going to be featuring this week is one of the world's most iconic actresses, I think. I don't think there's a person on the planet that doesn't know the one and only Jane Fonda. I mean, Jane Fonda, fortunately, was born into a very famous family, and she came from acting roots with her father, Henry Fonda. So it was no surprise that she went into film, television, acting. She was an activist. She's a writer. She's an author. There isn't anything that Jane Fonda can't do. And I think she's the epitome of a Sagittarian. You know, she's always bright and bubbly. She's always positive. She's always got something to say. And it might be at times a little bit controversial, but she speaks her truth. And she sort of is prepared to challenge anybody that sort of believes, you know, in an opposite opinion to what she might be trying to share with the world. And she's done some very controversial films over the years and taken on some roles that I think a lot of other actresses wouldn't have been game to do, because they wouldn't have felt comfortable with sort of putting that hat on and sort of stepping out there and sort of having a voice. But I think one of the most popular things, or the most famous things, that Jane Fonda will always be remembered for, and she's still with us, is the fact that Jane Fonda was one of the first women to put her name to a workout video. And it was purely not so much to just get out there and make a few dollars. In Jane's opinion, it was a place that women could go, that they could feel connected, that they could be empowered, and at the same time we'll get a little bit of exercise in our day and a little bit of me time. And I think she was really trend-setting in the way that she designed it to be that way, that we could get things out into the open and be able to sort of just say, hey, what about me? I need 15 minutes to 30 minutes a day just for me. And even if that means I pop the the videotape and the VCR player and do some exercise at the same time, I feel the connection of sisterhood. And I think Jane will always be remembered for that. And I'm sure there's so many other amazing things she's done, but that's just one I wanted to bring to your attention. So we're now going to take our first caller, which is Annette in Greenbrook, New Jersey. Are you there, Annette?
Yes, I am. How are you, Amanda?
Very well, thank you, sweetie. Do you have a question I can work with today, Annette?
Yes, please. My mother's health.
Your mother's health. Sweetie, that's a controversial area that technically around the world we're not supposed to cover, in as much as because we're not medical practitioners and doctors. But how I get around that is I can talk to you about the energy that I'm picking up from her, and that may be of some help to you in understanding things. Now, one of the things that I'm picking up around your mother energetically at the moment is that she feels that she's been through a lot of endings, changes and transformations in this last 18 months. It's like she's been slowly and consciously sort of closing things off, sorting things out. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean she's ready to depart the planet. I want to be very clear on that. It's just that she felt that there was a number of things there that needed her attention and needed to be completed. It was like too many unfinished things. And she's been systematically working through that. Now, during the time that she's been working through that, I feel her energy levels have been going up and down a little bit like a yo-yo. Your mum's very stubborn. She doesn't necessarily want to sort of tell everybody everything that's going on with her. It's like pulling teeth. You've got to prise it out of her, don't you? That, you know, Mum, you don't look as well today as you could. oh, I'm okay,
Yes.
you know, but she doesn't sort of like to want to be seen to be sort of complaining or, dare I say, whinging. And it's not
Right.
complaining or whinging. I think you need to sort of share those things with the people closest to you. So, number one, they can keep an eye on it. But number two, you know, they know what's going on if something was to go wrong. And it's sort of like she's very happy to sit there and help everybody else and listen to everybody else's ailments and complaints and their toe ache and their earache. But when it comes to her, it's like she keeps it all locked up in the vault inside of her. So, I mean, look, I know she's aware that there's things that aren't quite right, but I think at the same time, I think there's a little bit of fear there too, Annette. And I think that's something that maybe instead of confronting it head on, maybe gently encourage her to sort of like, hey, Mum, I think it's about time we both went for a checkup. Do you know what I mean? Put it in the we context, that you're worried about you and should come along for the ride. And I feel that might be a more gentle approach to getting her to come with you and sort of, you know, it's, instead of having a girly day at the spa, let's have a girly day down at the medical centre.
Yes, that sounds like my mother.
Yes, and she's so stubborn, and that's the thing that really got me. You know, like she could be really not feeling well and still be as stubborn as you like, sort of saying
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with her, and it's sort of like I don't know whether it's the way she was brought up, as she sees illness as a sign of weakness. I think that's part of it,
so.
but I think it's also part of if I don't give in to the energy of it, then it'll go away. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's
Right.
not really that important. So if I ignore it, it will go away. Well, sometimes things don't just go away because we want them to. We do need doctors and we do need to go and have a checkup occasionally and have a chat with somebody about something that's not quite right. I wasn't picking up anything that I would call serious. So I think a lot of it is neglect's not the right word, but it's like avoiding dealing with it. Like if we dealt with it a little bit sooner, it wouldn't be such an issue, if that makes any sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Yes.
Yeah, so that would be my suggestion, you know, sort of suggest instead of a day at a spa, let's go down to the medical centre and have a day out and we can go for lunch afterwards or whatever and encourage it in that way. But sort of show her you're writing a list of what's been wrong with you know what I mean? Like your eyes been twitching or your skin's been itchy or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Even if you have to make up a couple of things to put on there as well. But what I want to try and do is get an overall idea of what has been going on with her before we go into the medical surgery.
Okay. Yes, she's something else, so I appreciate it. Miss it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's lovely. Is there anything else I can help you with, Annette?
Well, I for myself, is there anything I should know in the next couple of months? Direction.
I just sort of feel the next couple of months you're going to question a number of areas of your life, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's sort of like questioning, sorting out, and getting ready for 2020. You sort of feel as if 2019 was sort of stop, start, and I want to sort of be ready for a nice flow in 2020. It's sort of like I've sorted out who I am, where I'm going. It's now just the fine tuning or the finality of things, or saying, right, that's it, that's my final decision on that I've been toying with all year. So that's why I think there's still a couple of question marks. But I think basically, no, there's not a lot I can tell you that you need to change. Just go with the energy of the day and be happy to sort of say, well, hang on a minute, I've changed my mind on that. That might have been how I felt last month, but this is how I feel this month and this is where we're going. And be very definite about it.
Okay. Great.
Wonderful.
Great. That sounds wonderful.
That's lovely, Annette. We're going to move on to Florina in London, in England now. Florina, are you there? Hello, Florina.
Hello.
How are you, sweetie? Do you have a question I can work with?
A question.
Yes, sweetie, I like to answer questions.
Let's see what is going to happen in my love life.
In your love life, okay. All right, the first thing that they're sharing with me was, is there somebody from your past that's just come back into your, or tried to come back into your life in the last 3 months?
No. I mean, I've been with someone, but he hasn't tried to come back in my life.
But was this person from your past?
Yeah, it's from my past. I've been with someone, but he's with someone else. Like, he never tried to come back in my life at all, never.
Yeah, but you're asking about your love life. I can see somebody making contact with you from your past, and it's like, we need to address that first. I'm not saying you've got to go back that direction. I'm just saying we've got to acknowledge it. It doesn't mean we even have to go past a conversation with them. It can be somebody reaching out to you on social media and you think, well, what do they want? You know, why are they trying to reach out to me? It's been years. It's just sort of like a marker in time. Once that happens, and that's why I thought it may have already happened in the last 3 months, it was like past that point, then I start to become very clear on where I'm going and what I want to do. So there is somebody currently in your life now?
In my life, no.
Okay. Well, there's going to be somebody fairly quickly after we've had this person that reaches out from the past. I've got a very tall, dark-headed man, a man with twinkly sort of eyes who seems to be very, very well dressed. This is somebody completely brand new, somebody you're yet to meet. It's not somebody that you've previously known or seen around the place or met down at the local, community hall or anything like that. This is a brand new connection. I don't feel that he lives in the same area as you. I think there's a bit of a distance of about 3/4 of an hour. He lives away from where you're living. And I like him. I feel very comfortable with this connection because I feel with this gentleman, there's no baggage there from the past. He hasn't been in a relationship for some time. He's ready and open and willing and able to sort of, if he meets the right person, to sort of fall into a serious relationship quite quickly. He feels ready for that. So these are all very, very positive signs. I'm going to say to you, he's a man that doesn't get his hands dirty in his job. He works with his mind. I see him dressed in a suit. That doesn't necessarily mean he's got to wear a business suit every day of the week to work. That's my symbology for somebody that's a professional person or somebody that doesn't get their hands dirty. I'm also going to say to you, I feel in the last 12 months he's come back from a major journey overseas. And I didn't feel that was work-related. I felt that was a personal thing where that sort of seemed to put a lot of things in his mind to rest. It was like tidying up a lot of loose ends and letting go of things that had been troubling him or things that he didn't necessarily need in his life. So I really feel that you'll be able to move forward, and I feel that this is a very, very nice connection with a very nice man. The other thing that they were showing me too, Florina, was, are you thinking of moving residence? Because I was seeing a lot of question marks around where you're currently living.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to move in a few days, but in the same place, in a new house.
Yeah, but there's definitely a move coming up.
In a different country, like?
No, just a move of residence, like moving from one place to another.
Yes, I'm going to do that, in a few days, yeah.
Good. Well, that was what they were also sharing with me, that this next move is really positive for you. It's opening up lots of other areas in your life, not just a move of residence. It was like, I feel that it's opening the door up and letting the sun shine in, which is good. So good. If you're moving in a couple of days, that's all very positive. Has there also been some decisions to be made around your how you earn an income this year?
Yeah.
There still seems to be some more decisions to be made.
Yeah.
So I'm not
regarding
sure
my job or a passion.
Yeah, I'm not sure from that whether it's looking at another job or whether it's looking at your skill set to improve what you've got.
Yeah, I'm trying that. Yeah, I was looking for a different job. I'm waiting for an answer at the moment from a job.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to take it or not. But about this man, are you telling me, do I know him? Like, do I know him? Do I ever
that's
see
what I
him?
said.
Or
He's completely brand new. No, somebody completely brand new. You've never met them before.
do you have, like, how he looks like, sort of?
Can
you see something? The way he looks
like
physically.
Very tall, dark-headed. He's tall and he's got dark
Very
hair
tall.
and he wears yes.
Because where I work now, there's a guy and he's really tall and has really dark hair. And she comes, because I work in a shop, and he comes there all the time, and he looks at me, and he does have that sparkle in his eyes, but we never spoke. Like, we just look at each other. So I don't know if it's that guy.
No, it's not him. You're yet to meet this man. I don't think you've met him yet. I don't feel he's crossed your path yet. I'm seeing towards the end of the month, the early part of the next month. We were in October, so somewhere between October and about the middle of November. And I felt it was in a nighttime situation where you're out with some friends was where you were going to meet him.
Okay, I see, yeah. Oh, that's really interesting, because I had another reading, and, you know, some guy told me the same thing. I'm going to meet someone, I have a relationship until like the end of the November. But that's really weird. Yeah.
No, it's not weird, sweetie. It just means that the information's coming through. We're both tapped into the same information. Anyway, that's where we've got to leave it. Thanks, Florina. We've only got a couple of minutes left of the show, so I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for watching. It's been really amazing show this week, and next week, as I said, I'm going to have a lovely surprise on tarot to share with everybody. And it's been an amazing journey here at A1R Psychic Radio. We're up to show 133, so doesn't that make you feel old? So on that point, I'll part and say have an absolutely sensational week. And don't forget to keep your eyes peeled to see who you can sort of see is giving you some very valuable information over this next 10 days while we've got so much emphasis in Libra. See, watch, listen and look and learn from conversations that are going on around you. You may just find that there's some pearls of wisdom there being shared with you that you may be able to utilise and take forward in your own life. But don't forget to be kind to each other. And remember those that we have lost. It's always a time of year, I think, when we start to sort of think about the people that are no longer with us and what we'd be doing if they were with us as we head towards this very festive holiday season of the year. I always think October's the beginning of Christmas to me. And it's a time when we start to prepare and make plans, but it's also a time of reflection and remembering. So until next week, bye for now.